Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am Huck, and today I'm taking on the Rad Pack's Rad 9 Movie Challenge. This was not easy to do. This list is huge, and movies came on and went off, and just, it was crazy. So, but I'm taking to heart what I heard Garrett say, which is, these are movies that you had on all the time, on repeat, over and over and over. Couldn't get enough of them. They would just watch them incessantly. So that's what I took into heart. Not just that it's a rad movie, but it's something that I watched over and over and over again. And so I think I've got it all, nailed down to the Rad 9. So what's on that list? Stick around, find out. All right, let's get to this Rad 9 list. I'm very excited. Again, so what I tried to do is really stick to that watched it over and over kind of thing. And so I'm going to start with, people are doing some honorable mentions. So I'm just going to get like sort of two big franchise things out of the way. These definitely fall in there. I wanted to save the other choices for maybe things that people haven't seen as often, but I'm definitely going to lean into these as my honorable mentions. The Indiana Jones franchise, especially Raiders of the Lost Ark. And I'm showing these old DVD boxes because they're so, this packaging's the bomb, man. This is the good stuff. This is something I had on all the time. I love Raiders of the Lost Ark, and the other ones were fantastic too, but I played Raiders so much. It was one of my favorite films growing up. And of course, this original Star Wars trilogy. I got to give this some love. I didn't want to put it on the list per se, even though I've probably watched Star Wars more than anything in my life, because growing up it was just so magical, and it got me into wanting to come out here and be in films and all that stuff. So this definitely fits the list nicely, but I'm sure a lot of people love Star Wars, got it on their list or want it on their list, but it's going to be an honorable mention because I'm going to save the 9 for some other ones. All right, these are in no particular order. Somewhat chronological, I suppose, but let's get to it. A lot of my stuff is comedies because if it had impeccable replay value, they were on all the time, and this is one of them. Number 1, or I should say number 9, number 1, whatever we're at, here it is. The first one up is Young Frankenstein, Mel Brooks. This is so good. I mean, this is a masterpiece, in my opinion. I know Blazing Saddles is probably a lot of people's favorite Mel Brooks, but this is mine. My wife loves it too. We showed it to our daughter. She loves it too. This is something that is highly, highly quotable. It's one of Mel Brooks' best. The writing is on point. Gene Wilder, Peter Boyle is the monster, Terry Garr, Madeline Kahn. The cast is fantastic. Marty Feldman, Igor. I thought it was Igor. No, it's Igor. Well, they told me it was Igor. Well, they were wrong, weren't they? Like, it's so good. So if you haven't seen Young Frankenstein, absolutely fantastic. All right, the next one up, I'll just keep saying the next one. The next of the Rad 9 is this Pink Panther series, but I'm going to specifically choose the Pink Panther Strikes Again. Now, I'm pretty confident Pink Panther isn't going to appear on many people's lists at all. But this is when I grew up. I was growing up through the 70s and 80s, and my dad took me to the Pink Panther. Not the first ones, because those were like in the 60s, but the Pink Panther Strikes Again is the first one I remember seeing in the theater. And man, Peter Sellers is so great in this role as Inspector Jacques Clouseau de Sûreté. And when he fights Kato all the time, those improv attacks that he insists Kato attack him when he's least expecting it, because how else can I stay well-oiled if you do not attack me when I least expect it, But he's amazing in this role as Inspector Clouseau. So yeah, Pink Panther Strikes Again. We watched it over and over and over in my house. We would record it on VHS. We played it out on VHS, and this became just a fan favorite for us. And the other ones, Return and Revenge of the Pink Panther, are also great, but I would say Pink Panther Strikes Again is tops. So there you go. Now, the comedy keeps going. We got a lot of comedies. This next up is, again, super highly quotable. Another movie my dad took me to, and it became like a personal favorite between us, and that is Smokey and the Bandit, people. Yes. You got yourself some Burt Reynolds, Jerry Reed, Jackie Gleason, of course, Sally Field. The whole story is about he needs to get a bunch of Coors beer from one state to the next where they, don't allow that kind of beer. And Big Enos and Little Enos, these rich brothers put him up to this task, and he gets his buddy Jerry Reed. And it's just so fun. It's a great road trip movie. And yeah, I mean, just if you haven't seen Smokey and the Bandit, it is so funny, very quotable. It moves like that. It's so good. So that one there. Again, another comedy coming up. We're going to change genres right after this one, but Airplane is my next Rad 9. Oh my God, this thing is so deep with comedy. Like everything is a sight gag, or it's a line gag, or it's something gag. Like there's so many bits in this film that one viewing cannot do it justice. Like even the people that talk on the intercoms, you know, when you're parked at the airport, the red zone and the white zone, even like there's a moment where they're bitching at each other over the intercom. Like you don't need that, but it's hilarious. This was on all the time because there was so much comedy gold in this film. The Abrams and Zucker brothers just killed it on this, and this went on to give us stuff like The Naked Gun and Top Secret and all those other kind of spoofy type parody movies. But this is like an OG as far as that's concerned. So Airplane is one of the best, one of my favorites. All right, now to switch it up in genres, y'all. Here is one. We're going to the horror genre for you horror fans out there. And for me, the next Rad 9 movie is American Werewolf in London. This thing did it for me. Partly because, as you can tell, I love comedy, and there's comedy mixed in with this horror movie, and the blend is pitch perfect. The horror is terrifying. The transformation scene when he turns into the werewolf and the bones are cracking. Like nowadays, you know, you get the Twilight where they just, poof, they're a werewolf. Like they just burst into being a werewolf. Like how are you physically transforming that quickly and without pain? But this just had all that sort of agony involved, and then the kills were pretty gruesome. I mean, look at that wolf, y'all. Oh my God. So this really turned me on to makeup effects. I'm a big fan of practical makeup and effects like that. And just the horror in it, and the dream sequences where he wakes up and he wakes up again. Like all of the great gimmicks that John Landis put in this film were stupendous. So American Werewolf in London, my favorite horror movie of all time. All right, now we're mixing up the genres again. Now I'm going to get to a musical genre, but not musicals. It's music, based on music, and that is Prince's Purple Rain. Oh man, like I was a big Prince fan growing up, still a big Prince fan. Once a Prince fan, always a Prince fan, y'all. And this movie, I worked at the theater when this came out. So this was playing in the theater, and every time the auditorium would open up, you'd always hear any Prince song just blaring from the auditorium. And, you know, of course, you got to see it for free when you work there, so you could go in and see things over and over. And this is one of my favorite albums of all time. Like, every song on it is just killer. And so I would put Prince on a lot. So this is a great, not only is it a great movie to have on over and over, but the album had heavy replay. So this sort of gets like a double Rad 9 as far as like film and then the soundtrack. So I'm going to go with a little Prince, Purple Rain. All right, rounding it out. Now, I tried to keep tons and tons of blockbusters off the list, but there is one I couldn't keep off. And that is Back to the Future. That's right. So we're going to put the first Back to the Future on there. I think this film is a pitch perfect film. Michael J. Fox, thank God they got him. I mean, I love Eric Stoltz as an actor, but you could just tell there was a reason they wanted Michael J. Fox. The chemistry between Fox and, you know, Doc Brown, and it's so well paced. The writing is on point. The comedy is great. Michael's fantastic. Supporting cast is great. Direction, everything about this film. It's I made a video about some of my top 10, top 15 perfect films of all time. This is one of those. And so needless to say, I had to get at least one of those in the Rad 9. So Back to the Future, no surprise, it's a crowd favorite. Now, the last two, yeah, I guess I've leaned heavily on comedy a lot in this, but these are things I had on a lot. There are other ones I picked, but they came out maybe later. And I'll maybe talk about those after this is over. But I'm going to go with Big Trouble in Little China. I have a couple of versions of this. This is one that's trapped. I got like two more over there. But this is the one I can find right here. So Big Trouble in Little China. This is a film I saw that it didn't resonate with audiences right away. It became a cult after the fact. So it's just hilarious. I mean, Kurt Russell in this, perfectly cast. John Carpenter. This is actually my favorite John Carpenter film. So despite all those great horrors, Halloween, They Live, anything like that, this is still, it's so weird, so offbeat. It's got kung fu, it's got comedy, it's got a little horror-esque type feel to it with some of the monsters. I mean, it's just all over the place. You know, you got David Lopan with light coming out of his mouth. It's just It's so good. When I saw this, like no one got it, but I was just like, it's weird. I like weird. And so I would watch this over and over. Again, highly quotable. I would quote this all the time. You know, the bottle with Wang and bang, boom, catches the ball. He's like, it's all in the reflexes. Like, so that was a going thing throughout the thing. It's all in the reflexes. I would use that all the time. All in the reflexes. But yeah, Big Trouble in Little China, definitely in my Rad 9. And my final movie in my Rad 9, also, it's a little bit of a sci-fi and a comedy. And it's the newest one on the list because, again, we wanted to make sure it's something we watched over and over and over. And this is one I still watch over and over, even with my family now. My wife loves it, daughter loves it. So it's on the list, and that is Galaxy Quest. If you've seen my channel before, you know how much I love Galaxy Quest. I love the steelbook, too. It's so great. Look at that. Never give up, never surrender. A lot of good quotes in this film. The cast is great. I mean, look, you got Sigourney Weaver, Alan Rickman, Tim Allen. And, you know, even like Justin Long in this, he's the, you know, the super nerd of the show who really kind of helps save the day. I mean, he is great. Like, this cast is so good. And so if you have not seen Galaxy Quest, oh my God, if I can recommend any in this stack that you haven't seen, I mean, they're all worth recommending, but this is so good. It's basically a love letter to Star Trek, kind of pokes fun at Star Trek, but in a loving way. Tim Allen's clearly playing like a Bill Shatner, Captain Kirk kind of character. Alan Rickman's like the alien, so that'd be like Spock, Shakespearean thespian trained actor, that all this is beneath him. It's just hilarious. So Galaxy Quest rounds out my Rad 9 of movies that I had on repeat over and over and over again. Other things that I thought about tossing in there were things like RoboCop, Roadhouse, things like that. All those are other good films that I had on repeat, but this is one, I don't know, I felt pretty good about this stack. So now, if I did a blockbuster version of this, it would have looked something like this. Obviously, you got your Star Wars and Raiders, plus I would have added Jaws, Die Hard, Ghostbusters, Roger Rabbit, Superman the movie, Predator, and Rocky. Those would have been the titles had I gone the blockbuster route, but I stuck with this, so that is it. All right, that is going to do it. That is my Rad 9. I want to thank Mel and Justin and, of course, Garrett for putting this challenge out to the community. Look around. There's a whole bunch of other people that have done this as well. I'll try to leave some links to some of them below, but just type in, Rad 9 challenge. They're all over the place. I love to see everyone's Rad 9, but that is mine for today. Guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you dug my Rad 9, please get on down there and hit like, subscribe, smash that notification bell. Get over to the Rad Pack. Check out all 3 of their videos. Get over to all the other people that are posting their videos as well, because these are tons of fun. That's going to do it, but hey, while you're here, check out these other great videos.